Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker, Michael Parker, playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined once again, dear listeners, for a tale of epic fantasy. Things are getting swanky, posh, and a little political here at Challenge Rating Zero. Let's get right into it. When last we left our heroes, for the first time in a while, Hector, Rilla, and Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide were all in the same place, namely, the Bloodstone Keep of the Iron Shogun of Grotmire. Our heroes, the protagonists, and Zurabak have been invited to an elaborate state dinner at the home of the ruler of the Dwarven realm, and have been tasked with the very unfortunate goal of convincing the Lord of all Dwarves to give up a very important component of his golem life support system in order to finish crafting the cipher golem they need to cast the spell that will end the Glyph Purge and fix all of reality. Our heroes have whined a bit, they have danced splendidly. Zurabak was elaborately introduced to court, and our heroes are now sitting at the head table next to the Iron Shogun and his daughter Esmeralda, leader of the dwarves' martial forces, looking out on a grand feast hall with long tables strewn with dwarven merchants, nobles, and generally wealthy guests. The last thing that happened was the Iron Shogun himself was introduced to the proceedings, a very old dwarven man whose body is encased in a massive iron golem. To our hero's surprise, and Zurabak, he seemed to be doddering, absent-minded, completely unaware of things going on around him, and the last thing you all heard him say as he turned to his daughter Esmeralda was, "Who are these people? Do we know them?" Now, we join you all as you are seated at this long table set with beautiful cutlery, gold and silver trim. Bountiful foods are placed before you, slabs of roasted mushroom, mole steaks, various dwarven delicacies, and you are dining in comfort.
Just whenever I hear him say, "Who are those people?" Hector just chimes in. "We have not had the pleasure of meeting as of yet. It is truly an honor."
The Iron Shogun turns his wrinkled and liver-spotted head towards you, Hector, squinting his beady eyes in your direction, and says,
Oh, yes, you're the heroes? Is that right?
Indeed. Yes, we are the protagonists.
I tip my hat.
I, wave my fork at him.
Esmerelle, the Iron Shogun's daughter, kind of leans over his plate and says, "Yes, Father, these are our honored guests, the protagonists. You invited them here, remember?" "Oh, yes. Yes, of course." And he puts on a sort of awkward smile and returns to his meal. Esmerelle turns towards you all and says, "You'll have to forgive Father. He's been ill lately. He's been alive for quite a long time and he's been very tired with all of the goings-on around here. Allow me to express on behalf of the Iron Eye clan our deepest gratitude for all of the great work you have done, not only in Grotmire and Everspring, but in the wider world. If you hadn't come when you did, and solved so quickly and so efficiently the rock joint crisis, well, it would have spelled disaster for above and below. Thank you very much. We hope that the scant amount of treasure we have bestowed upon you adequately expresses our thanks."
Yep.
We have appreciated.
I thought Ruger was going to be our talk.
I know. I'm let Hector go. I'm ready. I'm chilling.
Well, we appreciate any reward we have in your eyes earned, but we truly, I mean, we have done some good for this world, but certainly so have the both of you.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
He's laying on the compliments. It really just feels uncomfortable and like ducks her head down. I don't want to watch this.
yeah, not schmoozing, anything but schmoozing. Esmerelle gives a bare tilt of her head at that in appreciation and says, "Oh, well, you flatter us, gatekeeper. We do what we can. The dwarves are in many ways, literally and figuratively, the foundation of all of your fine work up in the city of Everspring. We pride ourselves on being the rock that the beacon of civilization can depend on in times of peace and in times of strife. I am rather curious, though, if all of the stories about you all are true. There have been some rather tall tales spread about you in the court of the dwarves. Is it true you all devoured an entire dragon?"
Yep.
Why is this the story that always gets told? Like, is it really that big of a deal? Like,
He tasted delicious.
we were hungry. It was a rough fight. Like, it happened.
To be clear, we didn't eat a whole dragon. No. We did eat the wings off of a dragon.
And I wasn't there for that.
True, that was before Ruger's time.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Point of order.
also, you know, the dragon ate me back a little bit. So it's all even.
I'll finish that meal one day.
Esmerelle looks completely shocked for just a moment, and then the serene veneer of nobility once again dominates her face. She says, "Oh, my word. Well, that is impressive." She spears a small buttered cave snail on her plate and sort of absentmindedly waves it in front of her face. "I wonder what dragon tastes like. Can you remember? Could you describe it?"
I don't remember how it was described. Do you? Does anybody actually remember? Like,
I'm sure it was like chicken.
Improv.
yeah, probably
I do
chicken.
feel like it was said like chicken,
I can't fathom
but
how
I don't
it would be.
remember.
I
It has
don't
been
either. It was
quite a
so-
while.
It was so long ago.
Just make it up.
It's improv, baby. Freedom to play in the space. Just, I don't know, make some shit up.
What flavor of Kesk was what kind of dragon was he? I'm sorry. I know we just literally talked to the dude and I can't remember. Blame it on
It's
the
fine.
ADHD.
ADD's a bitch.
Yeah.
Kesk is a green dragon. Green dragons breathe acid.
Oh, okay. So he was a little spicy then,
Mm-hmm.
probably,
Yeah,
right?
it has to be
A bit of a
prepared
kick.
just right, like one of them blowfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kind of like a buffalo wing.
Wait,
Ooh, I
buffaloes
do-
have wings? Not the kind I'd see.
They do if you cast the right spells.
No. Yeah.
Zurabak shakes his head in shame.
Esmeralda politely laughs along with you, and the meal goes on with some polite chatter back and forth. You see the horde of attendees laid out before you on all these tables going about their meal. Unbeknownst to our listeners, Ruger Firehide rolled himself a sense motive check. Well, the whole party rolled a sense motive check after hearing the Iron Shogun speak last session. Ruger rolled the highest with a 30, I believe. And Ruger, as you're looking over the crowd as everyone's tearing into their meals and tittering and gossiping with hands held over their mouths, you get an odd feeling. The attendees here at this feast all seemed incredibly surprised by the Iron Shogun's seeming absent-mindedness. They all seemed shocked at his actions, but the people on the table around you, the senior officials and advisors, none of them looked surprised at all. And you also notice that something's not quite right about the Iron Shogun. This air of absent-mindedness seems to be broken occasionally by flashes in his eye every now and again, surprisingly cunning sidelong glances at the people around him, every once in a while breaking through the sort of slack-jawed stare he normally has. Something's not quite right there.
So do I infer that to be guile? As in, he's putting on a show about being absent-minded? Or am I picking up like a malicious intent as if he's being like suppressed in some way?
You get the feeling this might be bullshit.
Ooh.
You get the feeling this might be bullshit. Zurabak, you have
Intriguing.
ridiculously fine-tuned ears. And while those are an absolute benefit in the wild, tracking down prey in a setting like this, a hall full of nobles spreading gossip and rumors, you hear just a cacophony of noise. Weak, bloated, stuffed shirts, wearing fragile silks, preening themselves while they take dainty bites of the food laid out before them. But you do hear a few interesting tidbits here and there. There's a group of people talking about something called the Deep Wardens, some faction in the Dwarven Kingdom that apparently have found new paths through old dwarven vaults. That seems to be a rumor spreading around the crowd. These Deep Wardens apparently have delved rather far into old ruined dwarf holds and have found some new paths.
Dwarves never learn. They always dig too fucking deep.
Just keep. Look, you keep digging until it's bad, and that's how you know when to stop. When you've released a primordial evil, like that's when you know to stop digging. Yeah. There's ore down there.
God damn it! Sorry, I digress.
Oh, you're fine. You also hear some gossip between some of the guards that are flanking this wide hall. These dwarven guards wear the black armor of the elite forces of the Iron Shogun, not the red armor of the city guards above. This black armor is also worn by the folks at the jail, the massive dungeon in Grotmire, where all of Everspring and Grotmire's criminals are held. A couple of these dwarves are gossiping about a centaur that has apparently been visiting the jail. They think it's super weird. They never get runners asking to see prisoners, but apparently a runner has been going by the dungeon asking to speak with some prisoners down there. And those are the juiciest tidbits you get. The rest is just gossip about who slept with who and who reneged on a deal and who's running from their creditors.
Who slept with who? I'm intrigued.
Well,
the nanny?
Lord... Well, Lord Alonzo's been cheating on his wife, and she's the clan mother.
She's the heir apparent to the emerald mines of fucking...
This is Zurabak explaining to Ruger as he's pointing at these people.
I'm fucking fascinated. I'm like, holy shit.
Absolutely, yeah. Zurabak fully taking command of your new interest in nobility. Yeah, you just rifle off these like deeply guarded secrets people are whispering about, but you hear them incredibly clearly.
It's a booming voice too, right? Like,
oh, for sure. He's not quiet about it, and he's pointing at them.
Yeah, I try a couple times to curb that behavior, but with everything else with Zurabak, I eventually just give in to inevitability.
He just started up because he was tired of their weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, over the general noise of the feast, not all of that trickles down to them. But yeah, there are a few flushed faces that turn in your direction as you make these pronouncements.
Sam, I have a couple questions for you if I can.
Yes.
Okay, so is the dinner portion of this scene over, or is it like a meandering feast kind of deal? Are we all still sitting around tables, or have we dispersed?
You are currently sitting around tables. I had planned for you to disperse in a moment. What's up?
Oh, I was just double checking for point of order. Are Hector and Rilla relatively close to me still? Fantastic. Okay, so I lean over to them, and when, I don't know, Zurabak's barking about something, but I take advantage of his loud, boisterous behavior to lean over to my companions and kind of whisper in, I reckon this all might be a bit of a facade. I'm not entirely convinced that the Shogun is as addled as he feigns to be.
well, that's good, right? Because this was starting to feel like elder abuse a little bit. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, much as I love abusing an elder, right?
Hilarious. I take a shot.
Yeah, it was not. I mean, it was starting to seem like it might be a mercy kill sort of situation. So I'm kind of glad that he's pretending.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's angling at. I'm still not sure I got the complete lay of the land. I'm thinking about taking a pass at the daughter, see if I can't lure her out on the dance floor and get a little one-on-one combo.
Who'd have guessed Ruger's into dwarven women?
Y'all have
I wouldn't have guessed that one.
Y'all have any moves or observations I need to be aware of?
That woman over there with the bird hat, I wouldn't shake her hand.
Oh, fuck. I laugh a little
The
bit into
woman
my
with the-
dwarf soup.
The woman with the bird hat turns beet red and stands up and sachets out of the room, stuffing her hands in her pocket.
Oh man, I'm just staring at her the whole time, like blatantly, because I'm very curious now. What did she do?
Those poor birds.
Sam, can I ask another question?
You absolutely may.
I apologize if I missed this, but outside of our company that we brought with us, is everybody here a dwarf, or is there contingencies of other races here?
There are a few smatterings of like elves, humans, and halflings, but nearly everyone here is a dwarf.
Okay.
This is like the high muckety muck of dwarven society.
That's what I thought. I just want to know if there were other, envoys or whatever here as well.
Sure. It seems like this is a dinner to show you all off to the dwarven people, or at least the higher ups in the dwarven community. So, as Ruger imparts this insight into the Iron Shogun's conditions, Zurabak rifles off a few more incredibly embarrassing factoids. A gong is rung in this great hall, the crashing sound waves echoing off the incredibly well-carved stone walls, and Esmeralda stands up and says, "Well, honored and esteemed guests, when you are finished eating, I recommend that you all work off your meal with a few turns on the dance floor. We will be joining you shortly, but we must have a few words with the protagonists in private. Please, make yourselves at home." And all of the nobles in the long feast tables beneath you start to slowly get up and wander their way out of the feast hall and back to the ballroom. The senior advisors and high muckety-mucks here at the high table also get up, bow deeply to the Iron Shogun and Esmeralda, and filter their way out as well, leaving you four, the Iron Shogun and Esmeralda, at the head table.
Zurabak gets up. She said protagonist.
That's hilarious.
That's fine. You go out to the dance floor?
Yes, to hunt.
Fantastic.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Zurabak, you head out to the dance floor. You are flanked, of course, by Pretty Polly and Mrs. Fisher immediately, who get up from their seats at the lower tables and flank you as you make your way out into the ballroom. The three protagonists on the stage. Esmeralda turns to you all and says, "If you all would be so kind, my father and I would like to have a word with you in private. I believe it goes without saying the matters we need to discuss." And she turns and makes her way to a large curtain set up behind the massive throne that the Iron Shogun is sitting in. Two attendants pull it aside, and she quickly turns around, grabs her father by his enormous iron hand, pulls him out of the throne, and leads him behind the curtain. You all follow, and you find yourself in a very well-crafted and luxurious lounge area. There is a giant central pit carved out of the stone in a circle, covered with cushions and carpets. A hearth burns merrily on one side of the room, and there are silk tapestries sort of arrayed around the ceiling, softening the otherwise austere stone chamber you find yourselves in. As you all enter, a few servants wander in with drinks on silver trays and offer you all a beverage.
I take one graciously.
Hector, Rilla, y'all take some drinks.
What what are they offering?
Is it dwarven?
I just take it graciously.
They are beautifully crafted quartz champagne flutes with a light bubbling liquid in them.
Well, Hector grabs one, shoots it, puts it back on the tray.
Rilla sniffs hers suspiciously and does not take a drink yet.
It is a finely wrought champagne, some of the best you've ever had.
I sip it respectfully and then tip my glass at the Shogun.
Esmeralda says, "Please, sit," and guides her father to one part of this giant conversation pit in the middle of the floor, and he sits his massive iron frame down, smushing a large pile of pillows and adjusting himself. The servants wheel around and make their way out of the room. They seem to be walking directly toward the red stone walls without breaking stride, and they each reach a hand up and push open perfectly crafted doors carved into the stone walls that glide on hidden hinges without a sound and disappear behind them. The doors close, leaving a bare wall and no trace of where the door was.
I cast Detect Evil.
Fantastic. You pick up no evil around you. None in the radius of your spell as you scan around a bit.
Thank you.
Esmeralda says, "Well, it is, again, an honor to have you all here in the Bloodstone Keep. We have some rather unfortunate matters to discuss, do we not?"
Quite a few, I'm sure. Was there anything in particular you were thinking about?
The Iron Shogun cracks his dry and wrinkled lips and says,
Well, Mr. Firehide, for starters, I suppose we'll need to discuss your assassination plans.
Oh, well, we haven't quite made our move on killing a god just yet, but hoping to before it's all said and done, maybe. Or at least a devil, I don't know. That's what you're referring to?
Esmeralda and the Iron Shogun both smile at that, and she walks around to stand behind her father and places a hand on his iron shoulder, and says,
is he, at this point, is he keeping the act up, or is he just, like, straight up acting alert and stuff now?
He seems completely lucid.
Lovely. Fantastic.
It's an absolute sea change. He says,
Please, Mr. Firehide, you do not have to be cagey with me. There are no prying ears, save those who are loyal to me. You all have come at an interesting time, and may be wrapped up in a few political maneuvers set in place before you even came to our fair hold. Before we begin our grim negotiations about the parts of me you need to harvest, I believe some gifts were brought by those in your company.
I look over at Hector.
Yes, they were. I guess, Zurabak's not here to present his, but, yes, we have a few gifts for you.
the Iron Shogun raises his massive metal hands and slaps them together, and a sound like clashing metal rings out in the room, and another one of these panels opens up in the wall, almost like magic sliding on hidden hinges, completely silent, and a flurry of servants come out. They bring a folding table, which they quickly set up and drape a tablecloth and some satin cushions over. Upon one cushion, they put a cask of smoke powder. That
Hey, Sam, is it magic, though? Because I can cast Detect Magic. Is it magic?
You cast Detect Magic, and these doors aren't magic. This is just incredibly well-crafted dwarven... what do you call it? Dwarven construction. They're just really well-made doors.
Of course.
Upon one of these cushions, they place a cask of smoke powder that Zurabak brought. A small sort of pony keg, all black, covered in a large skull and crossbones painted in white, and another cask is laid down on another pillow, which is the Dragon's Breath Ale that you brought. Servant taps the keg and brings out some hefty stone mugs and pours out some Dragon's Breath Ale, and a fine gray mist bubbles from the tops of these mugs and sort of rolls down the sides of them, almost like dry ice, and hands them out. The Iron Shogun takes one eagerly and says,
"Ah, Dragon's Breath Ale. I haven't had this for quite some time."
Esmeralda says, "That's because your physics have suggested you not." And he says,
"Pah! The physics. What do they know?"
And he, cupping this mug in his massive hands, takes a huge swig of this ale and belches. And when he does, a small blue-green gout of flame escapes his mouth.
Ah!
As this happens, I run and I throw the
The explosion. I look away because cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, you throw yourself between the Iron Shogun and the cask of smoke powder, preventing disaster.
Yep.
That's what I was saying, and not the opposite of that.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
assassination attempt. He was throwing the explosives at the fire gout.
I apologize. Do you throw the
murder him.
smoke powder at the
Yeah, game over,
belching
bro.
king?
Fuck it. Hopefully the gyro survives.
No more exposition from you, Sam.
Or is it pronounced platinum euro?
Eero.
Ew, I don't like that.
No, I don't actually do that. Hector slams his alongside the Iron Shogun.
I take a sip and politely belch a little fire.
I drink my champagne, finally. Because now it's preferable to something.
I then start pretending like it's
for
poisoned. I start like gagging and spazzing in the chair. No, I'm kidding. That's not canon. Please, for the love of God, so that's not canon.
No, you all have some drinks. And the Iron Shogun says,
And I believe there was an oddity that you brought into my hold as well. Something rare? Something you found up north?
Hector takes the wrapped hammer and walks over and presents it to the Iron Shogun.
These fingers aren't as nimble as they used to be, if you wouldn't mind.
I rip the cloth off.
Chills go up my spine.
you hold Starfall before the Iron Shogun, Lord of the Dwarves, and remove the padded wrapping the attendant placed on it when you first arrived. Your hammer shines, its adamantine head gleaming in the light in this lounge, and the runes along the black metal seem to ripple. The Iron Shogun's eyes go wide. He nods in appreciation and reaches a hand out halfway towards the hammer before he stops and turns to his daughter and says,
"Tell me, dear, will that do?"
and Esmerelle looks at you all like she's taking stock of the room and says, "Yeah, that should just about do it, Father. I think I think that's enough to work with. That'll stand up to scrutiny, for sure." The Iron Shogun says,
"Excellent. Hector, the gatekeeper, bard extraordinaire of the College of Everspring, you have not only brought a weapon into the presence of the Iron Shogun, but you have removed the peace tie as well. An obvious act of aggression that is more than enough to justify me challenging you to an honor duel."
Huh. Come again.
What?
Oh, okay. I think I get it.
Esmerelle, standing beside the Shogun, says, "Yes, well, we have pretty strict rules about what is and is not allowed in my father's presence, and an outsider bearing a naked weapon in the presence of my father after just eating at his table in his private lounge is certainly provocation enough to justify challenge. By our laws, at the very least, which are the only ones that matter at the moment."
Winner gets the gyro kind of style. Is this his honor? Is this his honor killing? Is that what we're doing here?
The Iron Shogun says,
"Well, yes, it is about honor. That is what all of this has been about. Forgive me, lad. Please, wipe that look off of your face. You are not in any sort of trouble. This is in many ways a moment I've been working towards for quite some time. You have no doubt wondered why, in front of my court, I put on such a shameful display, the role of the doddering old man.
Mm-hmm.
I have been trying to plant the seed amongst the people that the infirmities ravaging my body have finally taken hold in my mind. I have been alive for quite some time, and my people are quite attached to me. I've been looking for a way to leave this world that will not end with sorrow for my people, especially given the threat we face with the Lord Deceiver and the end of the world. If my people see me not as a immortal warlord, but as a poor senile old man desperate for one last flash of glory before the end, I think they would take my passing far more gently. And, given what the turnkeys have asked of me, that they take parts of me to put in some other infernal machine, I would much rather die with my weapon in my hand than be picked apart by vultures while I drown to death in my own vital essences. I deserve more than that.
So then what happens afterwards? Hector kills you. We get the gyro. What?
Hector tries to kill him. He's still a giant half man, half machine. And I'm sure he'll fight his damnedest, yeah? Would it be an honor fight if he didn't?
I would bring shame to my ancestors if I did not defend myself with every tool at my disposal. But none of my guards have been summoned. None of my staff have seen this affront, and you did not know what you were doing. Though if anyone asks, that will have to be omitted. We have time to talk and come to terms.
No.
No?
I look at Hector shocked.
You would have me go down in history as an enemy of the dwarves?
I would have you put an old man who's lived far too many years out of his misery. At least that's what the people will think. I am senile. My mind is clouded. I've taken offense at a breach in protocol and demanded satisfaction, and none have the power to stop me. They will stand in the gallery and cheer my efforts as I am felled by a superior warrior.
And your daughter, seeing this honorable honor fight, I mean, I don't know, I don't like saying honorable fight, but you know what I mean.
Honor duel.
Yeah, he's off scot-free if he wins, right? Like, that's it. There's no burning hatred or urge for revenge. It's a clean kill, legal in your like a court case, right? Kind of that kind of style where it's when it's over, and you just move on.
That is exactly right. The succession is clean and straightforward. I, Esmerelle, will take the throne when my father falls, and I can assure you, as long as there is no cruelty and as long as our traditions are respected, no harm shall come from you if you come out the winner.
Yeah, Hector, you're just not respecting their traditions very well there, dude. It's not about becoming an enemy of the people. It's just their way of, clearing the I don't know what to call it. You know what I mean? It's
Assisted suicide.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that, but that seemed real dark and sad. I'm just gonna stop. Rilla's done. It's I get it. Abigail talked to me about the honor. Like, I jumped onto that pretty easily, but like, yeah. Rilla just kind of starts staring at her feet and drinking her drink.
I console Rilla a little bit. Just because, fatherly pat on the back.
There are other ways.
Other ways?
Oh, man, I forgot about that.
What do you mean? You need a rare component only found within this iron shell of mine?
Not necessarily.
Oh, Lord. Hector wants us to commit suicide, essentially, instead of you doing it.
What do you mean?
That's not necessarily the only platinum gyro. There were many golems, many sorts of constructs in Fel that used platinum gyros. We can find just one.
As long as you, ignore the fact that no one has ever returned from Fel. And that without that component, we can't save the world.
The city of Fel has been lost to the Badlands since before even I was alive. It stands in the heart of the darkness that threatens to tear the world asunder. You mean to go there and find in its depths the peace you need?
Well, we weren't too keen on regicide, so we weren't gonna strong-arm you into dying. So we figured the only godly thing to do would be find an alternative, and, well, now we got a working theory. One that, as Rilla pointed out, very likely ends in all of the protagonists plus Zurabak dying.
And the world just being destroyed. I'm not remotely sold on this plan, personally.
Yeah, it's been a point of contention amongst our group, but Hector probably is right. There probably are gyros in that God's forsaken city, and, your death wasn't exactly something we were hoping to be held accountable for. But I have a couple questions about these political machinations you alluded to earlier. What's your end game in all this, honor aside?
I have been a steward of my people, Commander Firehide, for quite a long time. My heart has been beating for some 600 years, and in all that time I have cared for nothing but the safety and prosperity of the dwarven people. I have served as well as I can, but we face new times, new threats, and an enemy that I, even with this form, am not sure I have the strength to fight. I have been blessed with more years thanks to this contraption than I have any right to. And now I stare down an opportunity to die as a king should die, to secure the future of his subjects. But I will die on my terms. That is my only endgame.
About halfway through his I am an old man speech, Ruger lights up a cigarette and just starts nodding along beat for beat.
Yes, noble sacrifice. Yes, divine end. Absolutely, absolutely.
Been in this mortal form way too long. Totally.
Rilla looks at us with a little bit of concern because,
Aw.
Yeah, because Rilla's not planning to die soon at all. She's not carving death masks. We're
Right,
not
I actually offer Rilla a cigarette, too.
I take it.
I slap it out of her hand immediately. Like, fucking, no. Not till you're old
I
enough.
sulk.
God, I love this wholesome content. So anyways, back to this guy dying.
I apologize for maneuvering you in this way. It is a cheap political tactic, but one that serves both of our needs. If, however, there might be another path, I could be convinced to pursue it. There are several things to consider. Getting there alive, for one thing, will be quite difficult. There are miles and miles of wild magic and walking corpses between here and the city of Fel, not to mention holes in reality and the forces of the Lord Deceiver. If the reports from your diviner are true, and the Lord Deceiver's army is based in Fel, how Dear gatekeeper, do you suggest we get there?
Walk.
You just said we. Are you planning to come with us?
If there is a chance, Lady Longshadow, of pursuing an impossible suicide mission into the very heart of the enemy arrayed against us, that I could lead, well then, considering you all make it back alive, this could be precisely what I'm looking for. If we can get there, and you can return with what you need, having the lot of us torn apart before we arrive at our destination would spell doom for us all, and dying before you all return would be terrible as well.
Okay, so the magic still works, right? Out there? Like, there's wild magic, but if Rilla casts a spell, it still functions normally.
Ruger, I'm gonna need you to roll me let's see. You are the foremost expert on the Badlands.
Fuck yeah.
Why don't you roll me a survival check real quick, Ruger Firehide, to see if you can...
Oh man, I'm good at survival checks too. Yeah, so that is a 29.
Hell yeah. Ruger, you got the full download on this. Magic does work in the Badlands, but it is unpredictable, and there is always a chance that any spell cast or any magical effect put into place will warp or twist or fail. It's incredibly unpredictable.
Okay, fun.
What about magic that comes from out of the Badlands and goes into, like, that is cast outside, but the effect would go into the Badlands?
That can work.
So teleporting...
So if yeah, that's kind of where I was going to. If I were to cast teleport, that would work for getting us in, theoretically, but would not work necessarily for getting us out.
You definitely for sure that second part. And as far as the first part is concerned, teleporting just requires you to be able to physically know where you're going, right? And we have the diviner's ability to pinpoint locations as best as one can in the Badlands.
Yeah,
That
the more
is
familiar Rilla is with it, the better off we are, right?
That is exactly correct.
Which, like, worst case scenario, if it needs to be a place we've been, like, we've been into the Badlands, so we could maybe potentially get...
Or if not that, Rilla has been in the forest her entire life and could teleport us to the edge of it to get us to the Badlands, but from there we would be...
Yeah, no, you're talking... Yeah. You're talking a lot of trouble and acid rain and all kinds of weird shit, so...
It is an interesting theory. Tell me more about this teleportation.
We're going to cut to Zurabak. Zurabak, you have left the massive dining hall of the Bloodstone Keep and are heading through the finely wrought red stone hallways back into the ballroom where you first entered. You are flanked by Pretty Polly, your goblin castellan, and Mrs. Fisher, the massive ogress, who is we're going to say chief of security because no one really knows what else she does, as well as your herald, Cedric, the gatekeeper of the Gatekeeper clan. Now, you said you were going out on the hunt. What in God's fucking name could that mean, Parker?
We're going to embarrass all of these nobles. They're awful people and need to be wiped from this planet.
Okay, and what does that look like?
Wait. Yeah, I was going to say, are you about to mass murder?
He said embarrass.
Embarrass, yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah,
Then
mass
you said
murder
they-
their reputation.
You just said they also deserve to not be on the planet, which is why I hesitated there.
Yeah, they're going to go underground.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
All right, Zurabak, what are you doing?
Rumor mongering?
Ooh, interesting. Okay. So, what does that look like? Are you just walking around spilling everyone's tea? You're just telling everyone's secrets to everyone else, like the worst people that could possibly know?
Yes. I'm finding out who it pertains to secret and who would hurt them the most.
Fantastic.
We're playing secret tag.
Why don't you roll me... Oh, boy. Yeah. Roll me a diplomacy check with your buff diplomacy from the card you drew so long ago.
Oh, the thing I said I didn't write down, but you told me to?
Indeed, the throne card. We're finally getting into the buff you got.
I think it's a +6. Yeah, it's +6.
Yep, +6 to diplomacy check.
And
Yeah, roll a diplomacy check as you wander about this ballroom. As you put this plan in motion, your herald and your herald Cedric and your castellan, Pretty Polly, are also kind of wandering around, sort of gathering more rumors for you to fling about the place. What'd you get on your diplomacy?
24? 24 or 26. One of those.
God damn. Zurabak, you soon, after a few minutes of schmoozing, have inflamed this cabal of dwarven elite, and in your wake, as you pass through this ballroom, angry dwarves start to fight and bicker with each other. A few champagne glasses are thrown in a few faces. Two dwarven noblewomen just start a full-on fist fight in the middle of the ballroom and have to be pulled apart by some of the guard. You have completely changed the tenor of this entire ball, as there are now angry shouts and scuffles going on here and there as all of the deepest, darkest secrets of the dwarven court are laid bare.
After that's done a bit, Zurabak's going to give a loud speech, too.
Oh, God.
Holy shit. Okay.
So we'll have to find the spot where most can hear him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gala in a palace. There's absolutely a little balcony above the ballroom floor that has a beautiful, commanding view and perfect dwarven carved acoustics.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just let me know when he gets there. Unless you want that now.
Bro. Yeah, are you fucking kidding me? Lay it on me, bro.
All right. Zurabak hits his herald like a tap. Do the thing.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, boss. Hold on one sec. He raises his horn to his lips. Burr, 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 burr. Dignified attendants, I present Duke Zurabak, King of the Shaka Lizards, Champion of the Goats, Emperor of the Rats, Duke of the Isle of Neho, Zurabak the Unburned. There's a small smattering of confused applause between the bickering. Everyone looks up at you, pretty pissed.
Look at all of you now and your petty secrets. You're doing nobility wrong. You're supposed to make things better. Do better.
Wow.
Or else.
Zurabak the populist.
Holy shit. Zurabak, roll me an intimidate check.
Did Zurabak just change alignment?
I mean...
No.
Now, Parker, you say that. But that's pretty crazy what the fuck you just did.
Roll it.
Well, I rolled an 18, so 19 altogether.
Yeah, bro. Holy fuck. I'll give you a bonus because your diplomacy beforehand, and they do not get their modified will save. Holy shit. A absolute hush falls through the crowd. Every single one of these dwarves stop bickering. They look absolutely abashed. First, like, a little pissed, and then they stop and look at each other. And, they cast their eyes down. They unball their fists. They, unruffle each other's collars and sort of stand there in stunned silence for a moment. And then someone in the back with a voice surprisingly similar to Pretty Polly goes, "Hear, hear!" And pretty soon the entire crowd is shouting, "Right, yeah, that's right, yeah, no, you're right, woo!" and everyone starts applauding your grand speech, and people start shaking hands and laughing and drinking, and the party takes on a very lively air as people start to mend fences like in front of your face. The emotional roller coaster these people have been on, thanks to you, Zurabak, has been enough to change the entire air of this party hot to cold to hot immediately.
Idiots. Zurabak gets down from the balcony.
Nice.
Hell fucking yes. Oh my god. Could not have seen that coming.
Not on my
Would never
bingo
have won
card.
that bet.
Not on my bingo card.
From
Wow.
the evil aligned character. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not a good thing. That's just a lawful thing.
You're lawful evil?
I'm neutral evil.
Okay, alright.
Are you still neutral evil? As
More
you
often than
embrace
not.
Okay.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of... It's fine. I'm not gonna have this argument on air. So... Cut to the private lounge of the Iron Shogun. Rilla, Ruger, Hector, you're speaking with Esmerelle and her father, the Iron Shogun.
Rilla has just teleported from where she's standing to the fireplace. There's a fireplace, right? Just to be,
Absolutely.
And it kind of works like this, and then she does that.
Ah! Gets me every time.
Yeah, none of you, I don't think, has seen Rilla do... This is a spell Rilla just got.
Yeah, it's brand new.
No, but she pulls pranks
none of
on
you
me
have
all the time. I'm not even certain I believe it's real. Fucking witch.
How many people can you take with you when you do that?
I think it's just as many as I can touch, isn't it?
So if you were
And
a
now-
9-headed Hydra.
Now we are going to open our books and
Yeah.
look up teleport. Teleport. All right, so you can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed your maximum load. You may also bring one additional willing medium or smaller creature per 3 caster levels. Ugh.
So I can bring 4 people with me.
And
That's-
big creatures count as more people.
Ugh, a snake can't come? God damn it.
This is a 5th level spell. So I can only cast it 5 times.
But there's the problem about you cast it once to get there, but then what happens when you try to cast it to get back out?
That is quite the tactical advantage. I did not know that magics that powerful were still in the blood of the elven people.
Neither did the elven people until I was born. Excuse me. Kind of a... What would you call that? A throwback?
Well, this does change things. A small strike team heading into the heart of the Badlands to find something that may not even be there when we arrive.
Yeah.
Esmerelle pipes up and says, Father, the only problem with that is you'd have to explain your disappearance somehow. Your advisors would want to send our entire army with you if you just abscond out to the Badlands. The Iron Shogun says,
Well, what of the Deep Wardens? They've been trying to get my attention for weeks about the old roads they've found under the stone. Perhaps they have a way by which we could get to Fell without touching the surface.
So about that, we just spent the last month working on preparing the city, which we now deem to be the last bastion of society on a, continent that's very rapidly being consumed by the void. And, you're telling us there's a secret tunnel out of this place in the mines?
I can assure you, Mr. Firehide, our Deep Wardens take no unnecessary risks. They are an elite faction of dwarven warriors who live their entire lives without seeing the sky. They are in fact their own clan, living deep in the heart of the earth, dedicating themselves to mapping out the old fallen holds of dwarves past. They have sacred rituals they follow to make sure that no one of them leads them back to Grotmire. We could speak with them. Perhaps it is time I acquiesced to their wishes and popped in for a surprise inspection. That could work for a cover, could it not?
Esmeralda says, I believe your advisors would allow that, with the protagonist as your honor guard, certainly.
I think...
So then, do you tell the dwarven people the truth later? What
the dwarven people will know is that their king, the doddering, old, useless king that had lived long past his years, spent his idle time on the eve of a great war doing a surprise inspection on his soldiers farthest from the front, and catastrophe took place, some unforeseen disaster that cost him his life. The best case scenario, we go to the Badlands, find a platinum gyro. We return here, and my death isn't so urgently required. And if I die on this mission, you can harvest what you need from my corpse.
Esmeralda winces at that a little bit, but she doesn't say anything.
I also wince at that, and I also don't say anything. I don't like... He thought of him dying. Very protective of this old man. We bonded over our old man stories earlier.
I do not wince because he's an old man, and I'm under the impression he's trying to commit suicide without shame. So, you know,
Rilla
he's ready. I'm fine.
Rilla has hit the nail on the head exactly.
Yeah, I almost had her like lean over, and be like, Hector, shut up! He wants to kill himself.
Yeah,
I didn't think
I know.
Fit the tone.
He's been convincing the whole time. I get it. It's still depressing me.
If you can get your diviner together with one of our deep wardens, they could help her scry a location far, far into the old holds. And if Lady Longshadow can simply whisk us there with her magics, we could be in Fel far sooner than I had thought. This plan has promise, though it is, of course, at significant risk to all of you.
Yeah.
The roads underground will not expose us to the forces of the Lord Deceiver, but there are terrors below that defy logic, that would curdle your blood to see. Beasts long forgotten by those who walk on the surface. I do not know that it will be safer, though it could be more expedient. Well, I suppose we have a choice to make. I could call in one of my guards, who will see this affront. I put on my act once more, and we schedule an eve where you will face me in combat, young gatekeeper. Or we could attempt to head out on this incredibly dangerous mission to chase ghosts in the heart of darkness.
Fuck. When you put it like that, and then I light up a cigarette.
You know what my thoughts on the matter are.
I mean, before this discussion, I was pretty firmly on the let's do it the easy way. That doesn't necessarily put all of us at risk, but I've got to say, taking a dwarven partial golem, like, to an abandoned, creepy town in the middle of nowhere that no one's returned from, it sounds kind of fun now.
I don't know.
Not gonna lie.
I don't know if fun is the word I'd use, but it certainly sounds like something we'd get up to. I mean, our resume, I think speaks for itself here. You know,
crackling with weird magical energy. Yeah, this sounds kind of cool. I'm down if y'all are. And if we're teleporting underground where my magic wouldn't be affected, I could theoretically teleport more than once and therefore take all of us and him and maybe Snake.
Hopefully Snake. We're gonna need him.
Yeah.
So
you don't have trees in the caves, right? Like there's not like some weird dwarven tree based thing. It's just our
fungus.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing besides the fungus that grows in the depths.
Because we have seen Zurabak walk into trees, right? Like
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then yeah.
The Iron Shogun places his large hand over his daughter's, where it rests upon his shoulder. He says,
"Well, Esmeralda, it seems these young upstarts have arranged for the perfect final journey for your dear old father."
And Esmeralda looks down at him, and a tear starts to well in her eye, and she says, "I know that this is necessary, but I don't have to like it. I'll send word to the Deep Wardens and schedule a meeting. You can discuss tactics and terms later, if you will all excuse me. I have work to do." And she turns and walks towards one of the redstone walls of this lounge chamber, and a perfectly cut door swings open.
Ooh.
And she disappears behind it.
Okay, can I be a dick?
Yeah.
Can I roll a sense motive?
Absolutely. Against who?
Esmeralda.
Absolutely. Roll it up.
Not my best roll, but still a 24.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
I have a 15 modifier to my sense motive. That was a 9
Let me tell you,
on the
I
dice.
love level 15 character. This is the state of play where I, as a DM, fucking come alive. Because yes, you manipulate entire banquets full of NPCs. You fucking blast through any bluff attempts. This is the good shit. I love this. Esmeralda seems incredibly conflicted. She seems absolutely earnest, but yeah, she's in a tough spot. She seems torn between duty to her people and like legitimate sorrow that her dad's trying to fucking die. Like those seem like real tears, and she seems honestly a little upset.
It's impressive parenting to raise an heir that is sad at the thought of your death.
Well, dwarven families are close. The clan is everything. Lady Longshadow, you must understand.
Oh yeah, no, I know that mindset, but it doesn't, it's not as warm with my people, at least in my experience.
Well, I have been truly blessed. Esmeralda will make a wise and benevolent leader. She is already the head of our considerable army, and seeing her command on the battlefield is a glory to behold. She will be an excellent steward for our people once I have passed, and she has waited long enough. I do not fear death. I merely fear an unworthy one.
Rilla starts nodding her head at that.
Yeah, Ruger does too.
I do not wish to be the cause of that. I do not wish to fight you, but I will be honored to fight alongside you.
Well, one last ride for the Iron Shogun. Aside the greatest warriors of the age, to retrieve an ancient artifact required to save all the world. I can think of far worse ways to die.
And that is where we'll end. Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating 0. We're at Twitter at Challenge_0. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send in any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks. We're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.